of the OVW podcast, the unofficial podcast of Ohio Valley Wrestling. My name is Jackman Oaks.
Hey guys, what's up? I'm Brian Hines. How you doing tonight?
Today we're getting a second look at the best of OVW Independence Rage, which was rebroadcast on August 1st, 2024. That was this past Thursday. But first,
the envelopes have arrived. The mailers.
Yes, that large black box that Hines is holding up if you're watching us on YouTube. And, those are mailers, and we're going to be sending out this week. So I would say, Friday is our is the deadline. If you anytime
you can join the OVW Podcast Connect and get free stuff.
Yep, you go to OVWpodcast.com. You'll see the link to actually join the mailing list there on the page at the top. And also, anytime you see one of our posts on social media, if you actually follow the link that I post, at the bottom of that page, there's a place to sign up for the mailing list there as well. Had some good movement on this. You guys have been getting in there. It is our 1-year anniversary, guys. Happy birthday.
Yeah, that was actually yesterday.
Yes.
I thought it was the 8th, but I was mistaken. It was 8/3.
Yep, it was very, and
my birthday's next week.
Well, so we are actually going to
So thank you for telling me happy birthday
early.
Telling me happy birthday early.
So FanZone Live this week, watch us on the OVW YouTube channel there, is our official OVW podcast birthday party. I have balloons.
Will there be cake?
There will, in fact, be cake and ice cream. And I will tell anybody who has done an interview with us on OVW here on the podcast feed, you are welcome to come hang out and say hi, like us on social media. You're welcome to just, if you can be in Lexington on Wednesday, and we'd love to have you come by for the birthday party. Like we're gonna have a good time.
So the party's on Wednesday, but actually it's kind of a surprise party because I didn't know about it until just now.
Well, it's not like I waited till Wednesday and you guys walked in here at 6:55 and I've hung balloons and streamers. So
well, yeah.
No, I'm going to make Jackman real uncomfortable. We're going to go super
6:55 would be way too early for me to show up.
PM.
Yeah, way too early.
Well, I mean, yeah, you do right. I mean, we don't start till 7, so you've got a long time.
6:55. I'm a 6:58 guy. 6:58:30.
Yeah,
I mean,
that 300 seconds is just too much.
You both do everything you can to kind of see who will be last to kind of actually get in the chair and check the mics before we roll with one of these.
I listen to basically the same song every single time. I know exactly what time it ends. I know when to start it. I know when to come in.
Who are you, Hudson Hawk?
I don't get the reference. I'm not that old yet.
So what song is it?
I'm not going to say here.
We'll save that for the...
It's Enya.
Yeah, it's Orinoco Flow.
Yeah, that's it.
That
was the name of it.
Who can say blah, 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 blah. Sorry.
Yeah, it's the sick dubstep remix of that.
So, yeah, join the Podcast Connect. It's our birthday. You get the gifts. Those are going out probably next weekend. You can look for those next week. And, happy birthday to us. And thanks for everybody who has made it possible for us thus far.
All right, I will go ahead and make a note that I will be putting together stuff to send out in the mail.
Indeed.
My birthday is it's the day after we would go in on Wednesday, for what it's worth.
Okay, so we will make it a OVW podcast and Jackman birthday party.
Well, there we go. And wherever you go, there you are.
And shortly after Christmas, we will have a birthday party for you and me that is
Council
disappointing because we've just had so many parties because of Christmas.
No. That's not how we roll at my house.
You get hyped for the birthday even though it's just after Christmas?
Oh, yeah. Man.
Are you surprised?
So the boy is born on December 30th. You're on the 31st, and I'm on January 4th.
The boy that can, for what it's worth, pick you up and haul your ass across the parking lot there.
Yeah.
Back.
Probably pick me up, or if he can't.
We like to celebrate
Sweet
what we
16,
call...
Sweet 16
That's right,
attendee.
Yeah. What we like to call Christmas birthday-cation.
Oh, well,
yeah, I do remember this from about this
I pick
time
him
last
up
year.
on Christmas Day, and we start with a party because it's Christmas. And then my sister-in-law's birthday is also the same day as his. And then we have New Year's Eve, which is also your birthday.
Indeed.
And New Year's Day. And then we have January 4th, which is mine. So it starts with a party and ends with a party. And there's a party all the time. No, it's cooler than that.
That's a pretty cool thing. It's just not our generation.
I promise. It's cooler than that. Anyway.
So, Wednesday, I guess the next thing on our list. Jackman, get us back onto the format, would you?
Wednesday, the next thing on our list.
What's the next thing on your format there? What do we go? What's our next?
That thing you wadded up in your hand.
Move us ahead.
We already talked about the OVW Fan Zone Live. That's
We
our
could
fans
talk. It bears repeating.
That's
Things at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on the OVW YouTube channel. Once again, we are the hosts of OVW Fan Zone Live. That's where the fans talk back. We will officially take your questions and comments, make predictions, play games, and talk about all the latest OVW tour stops. OVW tour update. Tag us at OVW Podcast and in your photos and videos from OVW live events.
That reminds me, I have quite a few photos from Independence Rage that I forgot to upload to the fan zone, so I may try to get to that tonight.
To the tour update, I guess, gentlemen.
I think I'm going to do it because this is usually...
You do love to pass this off to others. And you're usually
I'm
more
not
than
very
happy
good
to
at
do it.
geography. I'm not very good at geography. This one is really hard for me, but I will try my darndest.
I've actually given you a little more information in the notes this week, so enjoy.
Okay. August 10th, Cheswick, Pennsylvania. That is what, 6 days away?
Yeah, Saturday.
It's at
Yes,
the Mountain
sooner.
View, Mountain
Yes,
View
it is.
Amphitheater if you're in that area. August 16th, Cincinnati, Ohio at Riverfront Live. That's a Friday show, as we have distinguished several times, not
Correct.
a Saturday show, as we formerly thought. August 17th, that is a Saturday, Warren, Ohio at the Packard Music Hall. Tell us an interesting fact about the Packard Music Hall.
It was named after Andrew Packard.
Is that the Packard motor car guy?
He was the owner of the Packard Sawmill, and he died in a boating accident in 1988, or so people thought.
Did he fake his death?
Well, we'll talk about that later.
On an episode of Buckeye Homefront, hosted by Brian Hines.
I promise that will
Southern
come into
Ohio.
play later on.
Okay.
August 18th in Milwaukee, Wisconsin at the Turner Hall Ballroom.
So yeah, that's a 3-day run there. If it's not obvious, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, going up, basically running up north.
Busy weekend. August 23rd at the State Fair. August 24th. I think that'll be a lot of fun.
Do we want to hit all? Because there's 2 shows on the 24th, so that's 3 total OVW shows. How many of those do you think we need to see?
Do you think that there's a hotel that we could stay at?
I'm aware of one. I have a vague notion of a hotelier in the greater Louisville metropolitan area.
If we were being judicious, I say we would do the just the day with the 2. Mm-hmm. And that way we can, because then we're getting kind of a control, and then we could see because maybe.
So we should do some sort of experiment with the second show.
No, but we can see if the shows even change between that point, which would, if both the shows that are back to back are the exact same, then we would know that the show from the day before it was also the exact same.
I think the single show is on the second day, but at any rate, I take your point.
Not according to.
Oh, well, then I would trust
I
that.
digress.
Yes,
not
let's
according
digress.
to these notes.
Let's
A
move
week
along.
later, here's the big one. Talk about it for Becky. Appalachian Wireless Center. Did I say it right that time?
No, it's Appalachian Wireless Arena.
Appalachian
Yes, you did. That is, yes,
Wireless Center.
Arena.
Appalachian Wireless
Forum.
Okay. Town Square.
Spectrum.
Right down there in the town square where in Pikeville,
It's in where the river used to be.
Then the industry came along and it dried up all the rivers.
No, we just moved it.
That's horrifying.
We moved a whole river. We moved 14 train tracks. And now there's an arena where the river used to be. There's also a 10-screen movie theater.
Wow.
We
Okay.
literally call it the Riverfield District because we don't name things. We only describe them in Pikeville.
So what day are we going to go up for that show that's August 31st?
I would say we would probably go up that day. We're probably going to have to get a hotel room.
Okay. We couldn't go up the day before?
the day before. I mean, we could maybe go up sometime before there if you really wanted to.
They have a 10-screen movie theater. I could just spend the whole day. Just go right down the
they
hallway.
have the same movie. It's just a movie theater, dude.
There's
They have
something
the same-
about doing it in Pikeville that I feel like would be so much more charming, right?
I mean, I used to go to this movie. I probably saw 100 movies in that theater because
What was the first
I didn't go. I didn't like to go to college, so and it was right next door, so I would just go to there for a whole year.
What was the first one?
Oh, good Lord. Maybe it's certainly the era of the first Jurassic Park movie.
Okay.
93, 94.
I see.
That area. Right as I graduated high school, it was brand new. It has like neon edges, or at least it did. They may have. But it was very postmodern. As when I went to college, my art teacher explained to us in great detail that it was a postmodern building.
A POMO.
A POMO, if I guess somebody does, maybe?
I don't know.
All right. So, yeah, after Independence Rage, there's still a little more there on the tour update, right?
Yeah, there is a little more on the tour door update. There's only one more, Logansport, Indiana, at Bonus Pints. All the tickets from this tour can be found at OVWTIX.com. That is the Dano's National Tour. But,
Wait,
Tiny Brian,
there is one more that we know of.
Oh.
August 4th, back in Louisville for the Rock and Wrestling Show.
That's right.
At October 5th. Thank you, Mr. Hines.
But the reason, Tiny Brian, I always like to ask you questions about Kentucky and your experience growing up here during this segment is why? Because you host a podcast about such things?
Well, if you'd like to throw a break, I could tell people about it.
We will be back right after this.
Ready, break.
So I do have an update on Bluegrass Homefront at bluegrasshomefront.com, wherever you get your podcasts.
Are we still not allowed to listen to this part?
I don't think we are.
Okay.
I mean, you're allowed to listen. I mean, you guys just were on it, so you should probably listen. Now they're intentionally ignoring me. That's hilarious. Now I feel like I should just make it my mission to get their attention, but I'm not going to do that.
I'm sorry. Did you say something?
No.
Okay.
Instead, I'm going to tell you that we have our first actual interview appointment for in the Bluegrass Homefront Season 3 window. I'm not going to say who it is. I don't like talking about that stuff until they're in the can. But our first interviewee for Season 3 of Bluegrass Homefront comes in this week. We're very excited. So you can look for that sometime very soon. And thank you so much for your patience. And we're about to get back to you. And so let's move on and get to... Let's move on and get back to OVW podcast already in progress.
Tiny Brian, are you back with us?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, man. Yeah, I had to run down the hall and do a thing.
For the last minute and a half, I just heard a muted trombone.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was the weirdest thing. I'm so glad you're back with us.
I'm always happy to be with you guys. It's my favorite thing. So let's go way back. Let's. You guys remember a simpler time?
Like yesterday?
Well, more like June 29th of this year.
Okay.
It was a warm day.
It was pretty simple back then when you think about it.
The sepia-toned path of yesteryear. Let's talk about Independence Rage.
Okay.
All right, let's do it.
So,
do you want to host the show this week?
No.
Oh.
I don't know. I just find
it.
This is the first. It's just interesting that we talked about this, like a month ago, and here we are again.
Yeah,
we did.
That's why we're gonna have a lot of BS in this episode, as if we haven't already.
Yeah, the content is pretty high. This may be a fairly short episode, anyway.
Yeah. I really like how you put replay in the episodes for this, because I think it'll make people think that it's just a replay of an old episode. They won't listen to it, and that's really allowed us to really create some wonderful art over the last 6 weeks.
Maybe I will take replay out of those descriptions. You're right. Like I can't imagine putting a thing that we'd already released into the feed back into the feed because it's already there.
Now that we're almost done with this experiment, I've been acutely aware of that issue from the very beginning, and I've just been like, that's why we're working on different skills this summer. We're going to allow this to,
It's been a summer.
Yeah, sure has. Jeez.
Yeah, and we're not finished yet.
No. Birthday.
Yeah.
Wednesday. It's weird. All right, so who wants to lead us off? I think I marked somebody to do it, but...
Ah, I see it. It says behind, so this is the part where I say things. This first match that we saw on Thursday featured Superior Tony Evans with Jay De Niro, as always, versus Carson Drake. It was a great match. I love Carson's ring gear. I'm not going to make the joke that you wrote into the notes because we've already made that joke about 3 or 4 times.
Even I will forego it this week.
And here's the thing: is
Don't get me wrong, it's a great joke, but let's just
not saying anything. He he actually, anything that I could have said was not going to be as funny as what he said. I guess is the way I should put it.
You got out joked.
I got out joked, and yeah, I'm really not mad about it, but I understand that I am.
You did for a moment. Your face did make it look like you had some sour grapes.
Well, yeah.
Seriously, I do have a theoretical question since we've talked about this match 4 times already.
okay.
Yeah.
The right to have Jay De Niro as his enforcer. And rather than doing the thing we would all really like is to go see Jay De Niro become his own man and start competing in his own right, he has to go and enforce for somebody else.
Okay.
Who is the right person? Who else do you think would benefit from the services of Jay De Niro? Who do you think is the most likely to engage him for business?
I don't know anybody who wouldn't benefit.
That is true. Who do you think he is dispensationally kind of aligned to having an enforcer at their side?
Evolution is just kind of enforcing itself.
I have a couple of ideas. I have 2. Ryan Howe as a bodyguard type, not an enforcer.
Interesting. Oh, like for the
whole entourage aspect.
right, for his Von Rocket persona.
And then just kind of a new guy who maybe comes along, gets heat with Tony, and there's a little bit of a turn from someone totally different than Tony, obviously, presentation-wise. But if you were wanting me to slot him into like a pre-existing act,
I mean, that's unless you have somebody who you think we could bring to OVW that would pair with him nicely.
no, I don't have anything like that off the top of my head.
Give me a proper name.
But a pre-existing act, I would go with like Ryan Howe as kind of the, the heavy in the back, behind the girls and the guitar and completely, as you said. But that was not the premise of the question.
Right. Brian, do you have somebody who you think would make a good enforcer for? Or bodyguard? I like that too.
Maybe somebody from the women's division.
That's an interesting notion. Like Tiffany, maybe beefing up the Bad Girls Club, like giving her,
Maybe.
Like a secret, again, kind of like a Secret Service bodyguard type thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
That'd be an interesting notion.
Except more Italian.
Significantly more Italian.
Yeah.
Even though, as we've learned, De Niro, not Italian.
No,
The word De Niro is not Italian.
it is not.
Which I love. I think adds I think it's charming. Honestly,
Yes.
I like it.
So if you want to hear more about that, go listen to our interview with Jay De Niro. It was very early on. We got to get him back in here.
Yes.
He's got more talking to do.
I would very much love that.
I think he said TW3 is the one that suggested it.
He was, yes, some of our earliest supporters, and thank you to
Carson Drake takes the win in this match by use of not one but 2 sockos, a pair of sockos.
Usually you don't think of sockos coming in pairs, but
I wear a pair of sockos every day, man. I don't know how you do it at your house.
yes.
The only time sockos don't come out in pairs is, you guys ready for this? When they come out of the dryer, am I right?
Oh, badoom.
Waka waka. You're right. Actually, I found some stray socks that I had to take back to Ohio because they didn't belong to me.
You know how?
Yeah, I was actually just about to ask. Have you ever found a pair of socks that you know are not yours?
Not only did I find socks down here that I took back to Ohio, when I went to Ohio, I found a sock there that I had the match for down here.
It was a trade.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was a trade.
I like that. Yeah,
There was one
swapping.
sock traded for another sock and
Yeah, I like that.
a pair to be named later.
So there is a reason why you lose your socks.
Is it because they turn into Tupperware lids?
I mean, I love that.
All right, Adam and Jamie, what is it?
It's I do love Mythbusters, but it's because
I loved Carrie Byron.
Well, sure.
Well,
I
yeah.
mean, that's part of the whole package.
I was in 6th grade when Mythbusters was on.
So the washer, when you put them in the stand-up washer with the automatic agitator and the water fills up,
Okay.
as it's moving, it'll when it's low, the actual frame of the washer, and they fall down and they're down around the bottom of your tub inside your washer.
So you're saying that during a wash cycle, my socks are dancing on the ceiling?
Maybe, and then that you may not see them again if they do.
So this is an interdimensional washer.
I mean, if you feel like taking your agitator out, take your big tub and pull it out, you could probably find some old socks if they're dancing on the ceiling.
I've got a story about socks. You guys want to hear it?
Sure. Sock it to us.
Okay. So one time,
I'm sure it'll be a great story.
it's something like that. One time, one of my favorite bands was in town, Jamaican Queens, great band. And they said if someone can let us sleep over, we will play at your house. I said, perfect. I knew these guys kind of as they had come through quite a few times. I said, perfect. We didn't have any of the room or the facility to set up a concert, but by golly, we got it done. And that was by,
I'm sure your neighbors loved it.
that was by cleaning out our roommate's room and facilitating a bunch of borrowed band equipment to set up in his room. And we found a lot of gross stuff in there, but probably the grossest thing that we found in there was just a trash bag full of socks. And I won't name any names on this podcast.
Oh, no.
But I can remember my roommate who was helping me clean up our roommate's room being like, Jackman, this is just a trash bag full of socks. And I was like, dog. I don't understand. What do you mean? He kind of dropped it and was shaking. He's like, it's just a trash bag full of socks. And I was like, oh.
Don't read too much into it, man.
Oh, no, I think that's exactly what it was.
Okay.
All right.
So this is a great match. This was a great match.
Summer vacation.
Yeah.
OVW podcast, unofficial podcast every day but Wednesday.
I guess this may be a nice moment to mention that Ed Payer has made it pretty well known that they're going to have an announcement about the return to Davis Arena this week.
That is the official announcement.
Hopefully within a few hours of when this releases on the audio feed, we will have some news and we will be able to talk about it ad nauseum during our birthday party on Wednesday.
And I think that this is as good of a time as any time to remind everybody that this is the unofficial show.
Yes.
Yes. Sunday nights are unofficial. Every other day of the week is unofficial except for Wednesday, in which case the three of us and Malachi P.S. Woodard are all official.
If I don't have a jacket on, it's a totally different situation in here, I think is the way that we're going to roll with it from now on.
Yeah, we're playing a little loose tonight. I'm the Funkle. I am the fun uncle. I hung out with my son and my niece earlier today.
So those of you who are not watching us live on YouTube or afterwards on YouTube missed the reaction that Jackman had autonomically when Brian said the word Funkle. See, there it is again.
it's like you got the pea shivers or something.
I literally saw that shirt and thought, that's a thing we can use, like literally kind of against Jackman because it says Funkle.
The man from Funkle.
So it's like your kryptonite.
Anyway, why don't we move on to the next match?
Anyway, after Carson Drake beats Superior Tony Evans, we see that Tony Gunn is annoyed that he has to dress outdoors.
Are you okay?
It was the Funkle.
Okay. Let's
Okay.
Let's move on. Are you okay? Can we unmute you now?
Yes.
Okay. Brian, we apologize.
That's okay. I'm used to it.
Why don't you give us the next match, even though it was Jackman? Let's let him recuperate.
The next match we see is OVW Rush Division Championship match, belt versus career, and that is the future Will Austin versus OVW Rush champion Buzz Backlund.
Yeah, they did. This is kind of we've given this program and this match so much praise in the past.
This might have been the biggest pop of the night.
For Buzz.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely remember at the time. This is shortly before we went outside and sat in the car during this
out of the
match.
fire and back into the frying pan.
Yeah, but definitely the pop for Buzz was huge this night. And then, the connotations back to Brett versus Stone Cold here. The pass out. And honestly, I think that comparison goes far past the finish. It's like this every guy, every man in the form of Buzz Backlund, even though he's like far more juvenile and far less threatening in a perceived way than Stone Cold Steve Austin was at the time.
But just as intense.
But I would say that Will Austin and Bret Hart are very kindred spirits. And I think we've even touched on this in the past. I think that at one point Will Austin...
Moveset? Attitude?
Attitude, moveset. I think that Will's definitely a lot more daring than Bret Hart. But I think that he brings like a certain amount of intensity and a certain amount of belief and like take things seriously like Bret Hart. The difference between Will Austin and Bret Hart is that was Bret Hart's entire life. Will Austin can kind of, we know he's very funny. We've heard several people back here being like, he's the funniest guy in the back room. They would never say that about Bret Hart. But he's able to turn that on in the wrestling arena. I think that that's a gift all in and of its own. But, of course, Buzz Backlund passes out. Will Austin takes the championship. And that, of course, leaves the question of, Buzz never tapped. Buzz didn't get pinned.
That's right.
He didn't give up.
Nope.
His body gave up. Right. And so... man, I think that this thing is still rip roaring and ready to go, and we saw evidence of that at the Manchester Music Hall a couple weeks ago.
During this match, I was seriously concerned for Buzz because it was so hot that night, and I thought maybe he had gotten overheated and passed out because he was, just running around like a big ball of energy, and I thought, oh no, but he's fine. I saw him at the Manchester Music Hall, so I know he's good. Hey, Buzz.
Yeah, Buzz quickly became one of our favorites when he came through here.
Yeah,
as we were told he would be.
As we were told he would be, way
even
before
with the
he even
wing.
came through.
Even with the chicken wing, you're still cool in my book because I kind of asked you to do that. So here we are.
And Buzz, it's easy to sit and talk about Buzz because we've seen a lot of him. We've seen a lot of great stuff from him, and he is very, very, very talented. But he is just the beginning of that set of guys from this class. It's clear that he took to this thing very quick, and his character work is kind of undeniable. And maybe, maybe some of those other guys still have a little bit of work to do, but he is of that class that we're seeing being through OVW.
Our interview with Showtime Shanklin is live now. You should go watch it.
And I don't think,
listen to it.
I don't think.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I need to do that. I don't think we should ever, and maybe we've done this in the past mistakenly and never intentionally, but I think that you got to start thinking of that group of guys as a whole and not just like individual performers, because I think that they are tipped to be really something special, and we're being told such by the people in charge at OVW.
And we're seeing it on TV every week.
Right. And seeing it live if you have the chance to see them live.
Yes, and I mean, you're right. It really is a great class that they've got right now. A bunch of great young guys who, could have like another 30 years ahead of them.
You never know.
We can certainly hope.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
So, then we have more interviews with these guys. Actually, we haven't mentioned yet, but I believe Thursday we have Jake Lawless's interview coming out.
That'll be fun.
Good deal.
So look for that in the audio feed on Thursday morning and sometime later on YouTube.
We get into the nitty-gritty in that one and not in the way that you would expect.
It went unexpected places for sure.
I think that you'll hear some stories that he's a guy that's easy to go certain places with. And I'm not going to recount and did not recount the episodes of wrestlers on Netflix in that podcast, in that interview, because honestly, that's low-hanging fruit. But we did talk a lot about what led up to that. We did talk a lot about what happened after it. So
And we talked about how he got into wrestling in the first place, which was kind of surprising.
I definitely did not see that coming. Talked a lot about Jake's early days. Talked a lot. No, it was a long spanning interview, but I
was surprised about his early days.
Yeah,
I
just want people to know, like, if you're not an interview person, like, that guy's talked about that till he was blue in the face. We got into a lot more stuff, and you got to know Jake a lot more prior to and past that thing that kind of made him notorious on the Netflix show. So we got problems going on back there.
Nah, I'm just confused.
I always get worried when PS isn't playing his fancy Switch back there.
He doesn't even have it out tonight. We're running live tonight.
Okay. Well, the next bout is the Tag Team Championship match between Dustin Jackson and Flawless Jake Lawless versus OVW Tag Champions Tusks and Chains, Donovan Cecil, and the 80s Baby TW3.
All the talk of... We didn't get that here.
No, but it was quite the match.
I think it was the right decision. I'll echo my sentiment from the time. I think it was the right decision.
They proved you wrong.
Yes, they proved me wrong. Yeah, to stick with Tusks and Chains as the champions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and just because we both thought that the title was going to change hands tonight doesn't necessarily mean that, I was rooting for one person or the other. That was just me speculating on what I thought was going to happen, and what do I know? I don't know nothing.
Well, and I think that there's a lot more terrain to cover with Dustin Jackson and Jake Lawless as a tag team. And we've seen it, probably maybe some other people have seen it at OVW live events. I think that those guys could have a lot more in store if that's where they choose to go with it. So,
yeah.
Yeah, based on our conversations with people that we can't really talk about specifics, but I'm pretty sure these guys really kind of can't wait to get their hands on each other again. Like, I think this is...
Was this the first time that the finisher was named back in time?
I believe so.
That was kind of what I thought, too.
I certainly heard it here for the first time. It's certainly possible Kennison called it and I missed it in other matches. But
yeah, I don't really remember that prior to Independence Rage. But, hey, I could be wrong. It happens all the time as far as you know.
We know Kennison does like to try to experiment with names of things before they finally kind of land on the right one. So maybe this could be the first time. Maybe he's called it that the first time and circled his way back to it. Who knows?
Lion chops. Anyway, Tulsa King's coming back real soon. We should probably watch the first season of that.
I wrote something in my notes earlier about a parody of Tulsa King, and I knew it was bad when I was writing it down. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
All right. So yeah, Backlund, and we were finishing up Backlund and Austin. And Austin takes the win there, of course.
Well, Austin comes out new Rush Division champion.
No, we are actually finishing up Lawless and...
Oh, no, we had moved on. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we had.
And we were talking about the finisher even.
That is true. I'm sorry. I tried to jump back and scare myself.
We even talked about how Tustin Chains retained the championship, and I'm the spacey one.
The fact that we mentioned the finisher as being back in time puts you literally back in time a few minutes.
It literally threw me back in time.
Yeah.
It happens. I'm a sci-fi nerd. We do things like that.
That's only ever happened to me one other time. I was really stoned.
Interesting.
Oh.
I swear I made the same turn twice, but I only remember. But there's no way.
Like in a car?
Yeah.
Which
means I probably just did.
You probably just went around the block. And we're just. All right. Well.
I was like 16. Come on, give me a break.
I would have gone with Glitch in the Matrix, but whatever.
No, it was. It wasn't the Stray Cats.
Oh, there were no cats around.
We didn't rock around this town tonight.
I see.
They weren't strutting around.
All right.
I had a dream last night that I was looking for vinyl, and one of the vinyl that I found was a solo record by the Stray Cats bassist.
So it's just the Stray Cat.
Yeah, I think his name is like, it's really bad.
So you knew his name in the dream?
Yeah, I did. I recognized it in the dream as being one of the solo. I think his name Slim Jim Phantom.
You are barking up the wrong tree.
I believe his name is Slim Jim Phantom.
When I was in 5th grade for the talent show, we used to do, like, this was when lip syncing first became popular. There was a show called Putting on the Hits.
I remember that show.
Oh, God.
Basically was everybody dressed up in costume and would do lip syncs of popular songs. So like fabric belts as tails and cat ears and lip sync to Stray Cat Strut. And when you get to the part in the song where it says, strut right by with my tail in the air, we had the end of those belts hooked to a metal clothes hanger that was resting on our shoulder, so that we would just kind of do this and kind of put our hand on our shoulder and do kind of pull our hand down. And when that happened, it would, maybe I'll do a video of it.
Yeah, from a mechanical standpoint, but I would like to see it.
Yeah, it's straighten out one of those metal clothes hangers all the way.
Right.
So you got a long metal rod, and then you tie one end of the tail to that, and then you hook the other end over your shoulder, and then you just kind of grab it and pull the rod down, and as you do, it will lift the tail up so that it looks like our tails are in the air.
So what I'm hearing is in 5th grade, once upon a time, you were a furry.
I mean, we were doing theater.
You were a talent show furry.
I was, in fact, I was also, I also got divorced in 6th grade the next year because there's an old country song called
It is so
Stand
tough
Up.
out there for the youth in Eastern Kentucky.
Yeah, I got divorced in 6th grade because we did we did a lip sync as a class for the song Stand Up, which is like a woman's empowerment song. And the video has a woman getting a divorce, and the band comes in and basically plays and convinces the judge to give her the house.
Top 5 women's empowerment songs. Stand Up, WAP.
Stand by your man.
WAP.
Okay.
Sure, I guess.
I am strong, I'm invincible, I am woman.
These boots are made for walking.
These boots are made for walking. That's a good one. That's a
and
good
it's
one.
raining men.
That was written by Paul Schaefer.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go. That's not a.
That's not an empowerment song.
Strictly a women's
That's
empowerment song.
Hey, let's go outside because there's a bunch of dudes.
Man, I feel like a woman.
There you go.
There you go.
That's it.
Ba, ba, da, 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 da. Anyway, so the song for that song. Now we've said so many songs, I've forgotten what it was. Stand Up was the video was and we reenacted the video, and I was the husband being divorced. So everybody threw papers at me, and I had a bad time, but it was hilarious. They threw like paper wads at me.
Like they publicly so it was like an interactive play.
Well, no.
So it's like the Rocky Horror Picture Show, except for childhood divorce.
Sort of, yes. Like all people from my class were like the jury and in the stands. They were all over the stage. And yes, at a couple different points in this song, to the best of my memory, they would like throw. I think I had a fake fish thrown at me at one point.
So they publicly divorced you in this narrative for getting a divorce.
Well, I was apparently a terrible husband. I didn't fully develop this character. Or if I did, I've forgotten.
They publicly shamed
I deserved it. I was fine. I was playing a character. I deserved it, I'm
going to go back on what I said previously in jest. It's so tough for you kids out in Eastern Kentucky.
I remember being in the era where you had to make your own fun, but this does not sound like making your own fun. It sounds like making a mess.
I enjoyed it.
And divorce sucks.
It does.
Yep.
So back in time.
Divorce sucks. I know.
Wow.
Speaking
of are just murdering time.
Speaking of empowered women.
9 to 5.
Why?
It's
dos, tres, cuatro.
It's called Powerful Women.
Really?
Oh yeah, no, I did know this.
And it's basically Pitbull drops a verse and then Dolly shows up and sings 9 to 5.
Yeah, no, I did know this.
She actually raps a verse too. It is a great song.
Really?
It is legitimately a pretty good song.
Okay, you lost me when you were like Pitbull and 9 to 5, but when you bring Dolly into it, it's like okay, I'm back now. I'm here for her. Him, not so much, but
it's great.
Okay, listen, song.
I like it.
No. You said it is a great song.
So if we go back in time, will we hear that you said it was a great song, and now it's a great song.
I have listened to it more than twice.
I have listened to it 0 times, and you made up for what I didn't.
He's like, change is gonna come. Hey Jude. Powerful Women by Pitbull and Dolly Parton.
You are feeding me words. You are inserting them in my mouth.
That's what you
and I
said. You
do
said
not
it's a
agree.
great song. You said it's a great song.
There's a lot of great songs. Great is not a high bar in my parlance.
Okay.
Okay.
I did not say it's one of the best of all time. I'm not saying we're going to load it up on the arc.
You said makes me feel like a natural woman.
It just is.
You said Para La Bamba.
I did not mention that song at all.
La Bamba. You said that was better. You said
Puerto Vallarta La Bamba.
You said
That's what I thought it said when I was a kid. I don't know why I knew about Puerto Vallarta. I would imagine from game shows.
I was going to say Price is Right.
Beautiful Puerto Vallarta.
Yeah.
It's a round trip flight to Puerto Vallarta. Oh, I'm sorry, you overbid.
Yep.
Are we gonna finish this up?
We need those sound effects buzzers that are behind you.
We really do. Yeah. We're getting there. Let's move along. What's
I'm
next?
like, are we gonna finish this up? Even though this is all my fault.
Are we ready to move on to the next thing? Because I started once.
I'm sorry. Yes, please take us in.
Are you sure?
I'll be good.
I'll even
take
go
a
back
drink of
into
water.
the previous segue. Speaking of empowered women, we have coming up next the women's championship match between La Princesa Tiffany Nieves and Layla Gray.
Do you remember Lilith Fair?
I mean, I never went.
I never went, but I remember it happening.
I hit the Lollapaloozas.
Just asking.
We watched a little Lollapalooza.
It was interesting.
It was not Lollapalooza as I remember it.
Which Lollapalooza did you go to?
I still have my shirts from '93 and '94.
So who are we looking at?
That
Red
was
Hot
the first
Red Hot Chili
Lollapalooza.
Peppers. Were they either one of those?
The headliners were Smashing Pumpkins and Hole.
That
I
checks
can't remember
out.
which one was which year, but I also remember seeing Beastie Boys, George Clinton, and I'm trying to picture the shirt in my head, and I just can't remember.
Was that the first Lollapalooza?
No, the first one was like 1991.
I
or
think I remember
92.
talking to you about this because I love Hole. I recently discovered that I love Hole, and you were not as excited on the prospect of Hole. As
I can name one whole song.
Got a lot of good ones. My favorite Hole song is
Berries.
my favorite.
That's
Hole,
a whole other song.
My favorite Hole
Not
song.
a Hole song.
My favorite Hole song is "If It Makes You Happy."
That's a whole other song.
That's a whole other song as well by Sheryl Crow.
My favorite.
I was talking about this exact thing with the boy on the way here today, as a matter of fact.
My favorite Hole song is.
Here we go.
Sweet dreams are made of these.
Brian, you want to take this one?
That also is a whole other song.
Yes.
Favorite Hole song is R-A-S-P-C-T.
That's
Find
Aretha
out what
Franklin.
it means. Okay.
This has been the weird game where, Jackman, we should do this on Fanzone Live.
We should.
No, we should not.
Look, if Rise doesn't come back soon,
It
we
took
may
a
be
very
doing
it took a very special set of circumstances to get me to jerk off on microphone for as long as I've done it tonight. So
Well,
we're definitely not bringing this in on a Wednesday. We're actually doing it on Sunday night so that none of this ends up on the Wednesday night show.
Well, with that being said, we should have held on to that giant bag of socks then.
Oh,
Oh,
I mean,
all right.
no. So, Tiffany Nieves and Layla Gray.
He said go an hour. I said all right. let's
we
do
still
it.
have 14 minutes and
Oh,
change, 13 minutes and change.
To be honest, I figured as long as we got to about 50, we were good.
Yeah, at this point, let's if you guys want to play it straight and bring us home. But we are recovering this thing because why not?
You know,
Easy, Jackman.
Yeah, I mean, starting this whole thing as, like we spoke about the other day, as a heel, and then turning into possibly the biggest face in the women's division during your title reign is something that not everybody can pull off. But Layla Gray does not seem to have a problem with that. And she's handled the whole thing masterfully, as a matter of fact.
I think that
in my opinion.
I think we've echoed this maybe a couple of times on microphone, maybe not. I don't know. I can't really remember. We spend so much time with each other at this point. Anyway, Layla Gray thing, usually the belt is the impetus for change, and it never has been for Layla Gray. It has been a lot for Tiffany Nieves, and she's not held it for a majority of this program between the two of them. I'll be very interested to see what because I think it's time for Tiffany to win the belt and have a long reign with it, and I'll be interested to see what they're able to do with her character, beyond like pining for the belt. Like I'm interested to see what that character can do once it's a belt holder, like a long-term belt holder, without the help of the Bad Girls Club.
I feel like the absence of championship gold for Tiffany Nieves, as far as the determination to get that belt back and drive the fire or the feud between her and Layla Gray. So at some point, I'm sure she will get it back, but for now, it's done a lot to really kind of drive the narrative between these two, and that was pretty apparent on the Saturday night at Davis Arena when we saw Independence Rage.
Absolutely.
Last match of the night.
Main event.
Hold on. I cut myself earlier. I've got a Band-Aid on my thumb, so I've got to...
No, next to main event.
Yeah.
Penultimate.
Oh,
this is
penultimate.
the next to the last of the events.
Yep.
Jackman, what is this one?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. It's not the Wednesday night show. You don't do that on this one.
I do not.
It is a match between the OVW Rush Division champion Cal Hero and Tony Gunn. It is, of course, for the OVW Rush Division championship.
It is, and Tony Gunn was already in a bad mood because he had to change clothes outside, and I guess I can see being a little butthurt about that. But that's what happens when they won't let you in the arena.
In his Whittle, Arkansas jersey.
I saw that.
Yeah.
He's a Whittle Wazelback.
He's a Wazelback. Arkansas. I've taken the liberty and over the last over the last year really, to give my opinions on a lot of places on the globe. Most of them inside of the state of Kentucky or in states that directly border it. I am going to go out on a limb here and say that Arkansas, for as much S as I've given all these other places over the last little bit, Arkansas is the worst state in the whole 50. In the whole 50. And the whole...
Bold statement.
Yeah, the whole 50.
That said, as a Kentucky fan, we got 2 words for you. But let's move along.
Actually, I got a phrase for you. What's it called? Loosen up, Buttercup. Toughen up, Buttercup. It's pro wrestling. No, and it's and for honestly, it's not even just for football or basketball reasons. It's Arkansas is just a barren place.
I've never been there, so I can't speak from experience.
Neither have I.
That's where good folks go to die.
Oh, wow, that's harsh.
All right.
Well,
so
Tony
Tony Evans did not die there.
Tony Gunn.
Tony Evans was earlier in the evening. Tony Gunn did not
Neither
die
of them
there.
did.
No, not so far.
No, not so far.
But Tony Gunn does come away with the win here.
Yeah,
He does, but he doesn't do it alone.
it's easy to sit here just 6 weeks removed from this and talk about like right decisions, wrong decisions. This was it. This was the right decision. Tony Gunn needed to kind of strip Cal of this title. The Revolution, Tony Gunn's heel run needed to beat Cal. It served both of those entities about equally. Both the entity of heel Tony Gunn and the entity of the Revolution at large. Jamin Olavencia makes the interference, the disturbance in the match, and Tony Gunn takes home the victory.
So does this mean that Tony Gunn's given up drinking and hunting? Because he used to come to the ring and kind of like he's out there in the
Suss it
field,
out.
trying to find a nice buck to bring home for his family and take a sip from the old flask. And we didn't see that this time. He kind of came in through the side door and stretched a little bit, and then wham! Cal Hero attacks him and tries to get an early advantage and tries to choke him with a shirt. And even all those things just weren't enough.
I think you're right. Hate has really driven Tony's attention away from his two most leisurely activities in the form of drinking and deer hunting. And now he can only wrestle and beat IS.
And Revolution is revolutionized.
It's actually, you guys ready, since we're about a year in, you guys ready for a throwback?
Oh, Lord.
Oh, Lord. Let's have a throwback.
I'd rather have a throwback than a throw up.
Really, whenever you, get ready for both. Really, whenever you look at Tony Gunn's dissension into madness and join in with a far extreme revolutionary group like the Revolution, this is kind of an example of QAnon in media and
how people become more passionate over time.
Yeah, and get stripped away from all their values and their families, then have to look up when they have nothing.
Okay, so we're a year in, and now we're going to get canceled.
No.
All right.
That's a little throwback from when I used to just randomly talk about QAnon all the time.
You did that. Okay, that's how that's a throwback.
Okay. I did kind of forget about
I used to do where I would just talk about that thing that I do not believe in for what it's worth. But
can't wait to see more of Tony Gunn as the new champion.
Can't wait to see more of Tony Anon as the new champion.
And what do you guys think about Jamin Olivencia while we're here and he was in this match?
Massively impressive every single time I've seen him do anything that he's been asked to do inside of OVW since he's come back.
It's a pretty cool coat.
In fact, it is a pretty cool coat.
Jamin Olivencia is massively impressive.
And so is his wardrobe.
Indeed.
So there you go. I did notice that the back of Tony Gunn's shirt was double zeros, which looked like the end of a shotgun.
Right. Maybe it's double aught.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So there. That's a thing that I saw.
Main event.
Let's go, baby.
Somebody take us home.
Hold on. Ready?
Winner does this, but then they have to do the outro. Loser does the outro.
Okay.
does
Sounds like you're
that
both.
make sense?
Okay. Winner does the match.
Yes. Winner
Loser does the outro.
Right.
Ready?
Yeah.
We going 1, 2, 3, shoot?
Yeah.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, shoot.
Look at that.
Well, for once, everything's coming up behind. The final.
And hindsight is 20/20.
Hindsight is 20/20. That's right, kids. I appreciate you throwing that out there. The main event, OVW National Heavyweight Championship match between Certified Luke Curtis, accompanied to the ring by Doug Basham, versus OVW National Heavyweight Champion EC3, accompanied to the ring by Crixus.
Yeah. So this was kind of a moment, I guess, going into it that we were like, oh yeah. And is this what prolonged heat is? Is every single time we want a guy to be gone, he just ends up winning it in the form of EC3, and then we still just want him to be gone the next time? Like, is that what heat is in the form of EC3?
I suppose, because EC3 doesn't have a single person in there, I don't think, who doesn't want him out of that championship.
But do they want him to be beat, or do they want him to be gone?
Can we imagine that EC3 would just kind of run around and have a match if he wasn't,
So
wearing the belt?
You think the two things are they can?
That may not be true. He probably would want a rematch, but that's in my head. Those are connected. Yes.
In your head.
Yes.
In your head.
Zombie. Yes.
Zombie. Yes. Okay.
One way, oh another. I'm gonna find you. I'm gonna get you.
All right, we're coming up on the hour. Let's bring this
no.
home.
I actually thought this was a really good match. I mean,
really
there have been a lot of times where EC3's had a match and it's been like, oh, God. But no, this was actually a really good match. I would not have guessed that Certified rolled up in the black and gold.
Yeah.
Because he's been more between the purple and the blue.
The pastel.
He looked really sharp, as always. Match, as expected. I mean, this was for all the marbles. Everything was at stake.
I will give credit to kind of some of your points there. I do think that EC3 is great in this match. I don't think that it's out of lack of Luke being a great babyface here. The Crixus, I kind of continue to wonder when we're going to see a more clear singles program for Crixus. Maybe it's supposed to happen after this. We haven't seen any more television since then. Maybe this was supposed to happen this next Thursday night. I don't really know. But I would really like to know off the back of this what Crixus's direction is, and thus the direction of the championship that he holds. And then Doug Basham left bloodied at the end of the match.
Once again.
Yes, once again.
Which I think is always worth mentioning because there has been so much question about Doug Basham.
Seems pretty settled now.
Seems pretty settled. I would say it seems pretty settled. But there was, up until this point, a lot of question about what his direction was and et cetera, et cetera. And I think, to borrow your words, it seems pretty...
Yeah. And
in this recent couple months.
The day of the Manchester show, we actually got a chance to talk with him briefly about just things in general, and I 100% agree with that statement.
So yeah, this is where we lay here, as not only this podcast but as OVW fans, people who consume OVW. We assume that you're probably here because you do the same thing. You're not, but you're probably hearing this more likely on a Monday morning. There's been an illusion from Ed Payer, the CEO of OVW, that there will be an announcement of some sort this week. Now, is there any reason to believe that announcement is about returning to Davis Arena?
He specifically said it was.
It was? Did he say that past on some new information that I have not seen yet?
He said that on the day after Fan Zone Live. He said it in a post on in the Fan Zone.
So he said on a post point this week,
right,
about returning to Davis Arena, but no firm outline as of right now.
What we do know is that there will be a Rise this week, and that the OVW creative team, as I understand it, will be putting together kind of a montage of different matches, and so it will be different than what we've seen thus far. If we are not back
current storyline,
yes.
So we have some sort of indication, at least outside looking in, one could speculate that we might be heading back to Davis Arena soon. Sooner back. Won't be as long as it has been, as my mom used to say. Okay. And that's kind of all we know as of right now.
Right.
Sunday night heading into Monday morning. Hopefully by Wednesday, when the next time that you'll hear from us on Fan Zone Live or Fans Talk Back on OVW TV's YouTube channel, we'll have a lot more to discuss in terms of breaking news about the return to Davis Arena. But it's hard to tell right now. If we don't have that, you could still join us for all the games and shenanigans and BS that
we're going to have a birthday party.
We're going to have a birthday party.
That's right.
So you can still join us for that, and we would, as always, very much appreciate that. If you've never joined us for that show, please do. If you only know us from that show, thanks for joining us tonight.
Take us home, Jackman.
I'll take us home. Been trying to, actually. I just was never going to find the exit. I was going to keep driving around.
Can't land the plane. Land the plane.
The OVW podcast, the award-nominated unofficial podcast of Ohio Valley Wrestling, is produced by Blacklight Moon Productions at Nut House Studios in Lexington, Kentucky. The OVW podcast broadcast team is me, Jackman Oaks, and him, Brian Hines. Our studio engineer and editor is Malachi P.S. Woodard. Executive producer is Tiny Brian K. Woodard. Senior producer for The Blimp is Victor Anderson. On Wednesday night, catch the OVW podcast team as we host OVW Fan Zone Live and OVW Fan Zone, OVW Fan Talk Show on OVW Video Networks.
That's where fans talk back.
That's where fans talk back, baby. After watching wrestlers on Netflix, visit OVWpodcast.com/podcasters to find all the episodes of our unofficial Wrestlers After Show. Be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Rate us 5 stars and give us a review. You can also follow us at OVW Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, X, TikTok, Threads, and all the way to